Well, it's been 5 years since this film came out, so let's get to it's morphin' time!
Tyrannosaurus!
Look how much I've changed. More phenomeno.
After 10,000 years, I'm free! It's time to conquer Earth!
Hi, I'm Anthonix Maximus, bitching to you about movies because I finally replaced the batteries in this. Even though it's too little too late. That's right, friends, it's been 5 years. 5 long years since we were introduced to Saban's Power Rangers. I actually had wanted to do this back in March, because the film came out March 24th, 2017. You know, marking it the 5th year. But I couldn't do that because there was a lot of Batman going on in that time. So here we are now. And why not? I've done Power Rangers in the past. I've done Turbo, a Power Rangers movie. My very first Anthonix Maximus Reviews was Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie. Yeah, I know I'm very subtle, but I happen to be a fan of Power Rangers. I don't know if you picked up on that. But the great thing about doing so many Power Ranger related reviews is that I've gone over the history of Power Rangers extensively, where I don't think I have to go too far in the past with this one. Really, I just need to go over the history of this particular film. But I might make some connections to the references being made here with the TV show as well. Let's just say over the years, Power Rangers have been passed around from one hand to another. It started with Toei. The idea was adapted by Haim Saban, who created Power Rangers, and he held on to Power Rangers for many years. Somewhere around Power Rangers Time Force and Power Rangers Wild Force, Saban actually sold the rights over to Disney. Problem with Disney is they bought the Power Rangers franchise, not to do anything with it, but to destroy it. That's my theory anyways, because they weren't really putting much money into it, you see. They actually cut back on a lot of the CGI. Like, Disney still advertised Power Rangers and they still had decent writing during those seasons, but they also restricted the budget. But at the end of Power Rangers RPM, when it was supposed to end Power Rangers, Saban actually bought back the rights of Power Rangers, and he started working with Nickelodeon. But after the failure of this Power Rangers film, Saban actually sold the rights off to Hasbro. Why did I bring up Hasbro and anything current with Power Rangers? Well, that's because a year from now we'll be reaching our 30th anniversary. And rumor is flying around that we're gonna get some of the original Rangers back. And for the 30th anniversary, it's already been reported we have David Yost signed up. Yeah, and if you remember from my Turbo Power Rangers movie review, he had actually originally quit the show due to the homophobic behaviors on set. But I imagine David Yost is willing to come back now because, well, things have changed over the years. The year is 2022. Ideas are starting to be explored more. And now under Hasbro, we finally get an LGBT represented Power Ranger in Dino Fury. Now, of course, you'll kind of get an LGBT represented Power Ranger in this film as well, but it's still kind of ambiguous. But it's still LGBT as well. You'll see, and I'll go into it further as we come along. I'll spew some more knowledge at you as we go through this review, alright? Let's go. Yes, this film is a Lionsgate film. When Saban bought back Power Rangers from Disney, he made a promise that there would be a Power Ranger film. And this film is actually a reboot of the whole entire Power Rangers franchise. Well, it was an attempt. And leading up into this film, we only got little tiny hints. And by tiny hints, I mean they actually slowly but surely, one by one, would show the casting of each Ranger. Some of it was a bit of a surprise. Instead of having a white male be the Blue Ranger, they decided to have an African American male be the Blue Ranger and have an Asian male be the Black Ranger. Now, this could be for the reasons of them avoiding the mistake mistake they made before. You see, when Power Rangers first came out, they didn't really pay close attention to what they were doing. So that's why it seemed a bit racial back in 1993 when they casted an Asian woman to be the Yellow Ranger and a black male to be the Black Ranger. And they would go on to avoid that mistake and never make that mistake again. That is until they made Tommy the Red Ranger in Power Rangers Zeo, and it be revealed that he has a Native American background. But we'll just skip through that. They wanted to kind of shake up the diversity here. And you're gonna find out that having this particular character being the Blue Ranger is a great casting idea for writing purposes, and we'll get to that as well. But originally this film was going to be made by Robert Orci, but he ended up leaving the project so he can work on Star Trek Beyond. So pretty much it kind of went down like this. Alright guys, let's go ahead and make this movie. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. I just got offered a job as producer of Star Trek Beyond. So long, losers. Enjoy making your Power Man 5000 movie or whatever. I'm going to make a mediocre Star Trek film. Bye! But the film is directed by Dean Israelite. We open up on Earth Cenozoic era, and we see Zordon, leader of the Power Rangers, crawling defeated as the Red Ranger. And he's played by Bryan Cranston. Now this is cool for a couple reasons. One, it's Bryan Cranston. He's already a big name, but his history with Power Rangers goes back to the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers era. Because Bryan Cranston, before he really made it big, he actually was doing voice work. He did the voice work of a couple monsters in the series. One being Twin Man, and the other infamously known as Snizzard.
You won't get away with this!
Goodbye, Power Rangers! 23, I think, when I did it. My voice was rather low, and so I would say, "You will not defeat me."
Now there's this common misconception that Billy's last name, being Cranston, was an homage to Bryan Cranston, but it turns out that was not the case because in 1984, Saban actually did try to pitch the name of Billy Cranston for a TV show called Super Electronic Bioman. But it's cool that we finally get to see Zordon's backstory, because in the original Power Rangers, we knew Zordon as this floating head in a tube. Well, actually, he's more of a, for lack of a better term, a cosmic wizard that's actually trapped in the Morphin Grid. In the 1995 Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, they made it seem like he was stuck in a tube, but that's not the case. He's actually just locked in. He's pretty much has no way of getting out of it. He's just an entity. Like, he's sort of kind of stuck in between space. It's better explored in the comics now. We never really got a full backstory from Zordon. It was always hints here and there. According to the Japanese version, Zordon was just, his Japanese counterpart, was just basically a wizard that got trapped by Rita Repulsa. The Japanese Rita Repulsa, Queen Bendora. But you get what I'm saying. In this show, it was said that Rita Repulsa trapped Zordon in the Morphin Grid, even though at the same time Zordon trapped Rita and kept her in a dumpster for 10,000 years. But the film decides to go with a more hands-on approach.
Elen Shonoskesu, Zordon.
Renasco, Rita.
In the TV show, Zordon would mention other people fighting evil. He even mentioned one time the Morphin Masters, which was just kind of a throwaway line, but it would become a bigger deal in the comics, and now the Morphin Masters are actually a central plot in the current season of Power Rangers Dino Fury. That's why I like Power Rangers being in the hands of Hasbro. They really dig for the past. So I'm sorry, I'm kind of going on a tangent here, but I just like that Zordon has more of a hands-on backstory where he was a former leader of the Power Rangers and his teammates were betrayed by Rita Repulsa. Rita Repulsa in this film is played by Elizabeth Banks. She was the former Green Ranger, which plays just like in the TV show where Rita Repulsa turned Tommy Oliver into the Green Ranger and made him evil. So here, she pretty much became the evil Green Ranger from the beginning. Now, the interesting thing about Elizabeth Banks, Rita, you'll find out is they didn't want to give her the crazy hair or the Madonna bra. They actually wanted to make her more of a sexy villainess. And you'll notice her outfit is a little bit of an amalgamation of some Rita Repulsa with the staff, but also Scorpina, a henchwoman from the original Power Rangers series. And I would actually wager that her having a ponytail is supposed to be a nod towards Divatox. People went on to say, that's Lord Zed Serpentera. That's Lord Zed Zord. As much as I love Lord Zed, that's not his Zord. That's not Serpentera. It's the ship that would be used as the command center. Oh, and also for this film, they actually hired a linguist to come up with the Eltarian language. The Eltarian language is the language of the people of Eltar. Eltar is where Zordon came from. Funny thing is, Bryan Cranston, Zordon, and Bill Hader, who would voice Alpha 5, had a hard time with that language, but Elizabeth Banks actually became fluent with it by the end of production. And something I kind of wanted to point out as one of these Rangers who are dying, the way her head looks, I think she's actually one of the alien Rangers. And Zordon calls for Alpha to bring in the meteors to destroy Rita and the dinosaurs. Which is interesting because the season before this movie came out, they had Power Rangers Dino Charge, where the Mentor is shown to have accidentally caused the extinction of the dinosaurs when he caused an asteroid to hit the Earth. But that don't matter because it turns out that series takes place in an alternate timeline where dinosaurs at the end do survive. But yes, that is how Rita Repulsa gets trapped. She gets blasted and sent into the ocean. Zordon doesn't exactly get trapped in the morphin grid by Rita Repulsa, but his body gets destroyed and his subconscious is uploaded into the command center. Now, let me talk about the outfits real quick. The outfits, they wanted to be less tights and helmets and more like it's from an alien race. But I'm actually okay with it. I'm fine with our heroes wearing some kind of material that's not of this planet. In the same way I was forgiving about the Green Lantern movie where the outfit is CGI, because why would it be tights? Yep, we open up on modern time Angel Grove High School's locker room. Jason Scott is stealing a mascot along with his friend Hawkeye. I don't know who Hawkeye is. I don't know why they named him Hawkeye. This is the only time we see him in the movie. Hawkeye is played by Cody Kearsley, best known as Moose from Riverdale. He is helping out the main character, Jason Scott, who would become the Red Ranger. Jason Scott is played by Dacre Montgomery. They decided to cast these fresh-faced kids looking like they're posing for the Urban Outfitters catalog.
I just milked him. You just milked him.
Yep. Already we get dirty jokes. We could have gone our whole entire life without being shown a cow penis. Thanks, movie.
The cops are coming.
Alright, so I'm editing here and I do apologize for doing a lot of talking because, well, I do it because I really like the subject. But I realize as I'm editing this guy could not be Cody Kearsley. The face structure and everything just seems off. I thought maybe because, he was younger then, but now as I'm like rewatching this through editing, this guy is actually Matt Shively from The Real O'Neills, a show that was on ABC. Now, Hawkeye, Cody Kearsley, is actually in this movie, but he's just a guy standing in a hallway. Like, I get it, they're both stars, but Cody Kearsley might be on a higher level of popularity considering that, he's on Riverdale. But just kind of weird to have a big name actor just be there for one brief moment standing in a hallway. Anyways, back to the review. I'm gonna do a lot of geek talk. Sorry. Okay, I actually do like this shot because everything's the point of view of the back seat of Jason's truck. And I would like to play the music, but it's YouTube, and God forbid we play music on a YouTube video. And it causes an accident, a huge crash. And there's our title, Power Rangers. No big fancy title like in the previous two movies with scrolling words beforehand. No, this movie is too cool for that. We're just gonna put Power Rangers right in a corner. Yes, it's not Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, it's just Power Rangers. Well, it depends on who you talk to. To some, it's called Saban's Power Rangers, because of course Saban would want to put his name right above the title. He has to wear an ankle bracelet.
Now you gotta come here every Saturday for the rest of the year just so you can graduate.
He's as much of an asshole here as he is in The Office.
I had scouts coming to every game. You could have written your own ticket. Now it's all gone.
I don't want your life.
Thank you. I promise you, this is not the moment to be a wise ass.
Ooh, they're using naughty language in this Power Rangers film. And also attending Saturday detention because she's misbehaved is Naomi Scott, playing Kimberly Hart. And honestly, I think this is pretty good casting. She really does look like a young Amy Jo Johnson. Wow, okay, dude, that is the most douchiest wave I've ever seen. I've never seen such a douchebag wave. That's as douchey as people who do this.
Breakfast Club, where all these stupid kids actually show up for detention.
Yeah, this film is actually a combination of The Breakfast Club with Chronicle. And here is R.J. Cyler as Billy Cranston, the Blue Ranger. You're gonna notice there's something a bit particular about this one, and I am here for it. Oh, here we go. We got this guy.
You're a freak. You know that?
We're not gonna get Bulk and Skull in this film.
How about that double date we talked about?
Yeah. What about it?
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, so this bully is just your typical asshole. Interestingly enough, this bully named Colt Wallace is actually played by a Canadian country singer. Weird casting, but alright. I guess Ed Sheeran was busy.
Did you just slap me? I did. Weird, right?
Ooh, I always love that part because that slap actually hit harder than Will Smith did to Chris Rock. Topico! Unlike Bulk and Skull, bullies aren't typically always the loud, obnoxious punks. Bullying comes in different forms now. A lot of bullying nowadays come in a form of being a passive-aggressive bitch.
Water under the bridge now. Let's move on. Oh, thank God. We're moving on. Without you.
But in all fairness, you're gonna kind of see why they're bullies, and you might actually kind of side with them, but still. And because we don't have Bulk and Skull, I still feel like these girls deserve a Bulk and Skull theme song.
Cutting you out. Literally.
And what's funny about this movie, though, as grounded as it tries to be, they do kind of get a little bit Power Ranger jokey in a sense of they get literal. Like, was it necessary for her to have props? She brought scissors and a picture, but we needed the pictures because Kimberly gets to do this. She gave herself the She's All That makeover. To thank him for defending him, Billy decides to help Jason out by fixing his ankle monitor, so that way he doesn't have to be home. So this is kind of a thing that bugs me about this film. Angel Grove isn't really this metropolis, because in the Power Rangers TV show, Angel Grove is basically Los Angeles, right? But here, it's actually more of a fishing town. Just kind of a small fishing town you'd see maybe in Maine. I don't know, I just feel like if you're gonna have like imminent danger, I'd rather it be in a big city. Doesn't have to be New York, because New York doesn't need to be constantly under attack, but it has to be some kind of a major metropolitan city. But the set for the high school is actually the same high school used in Smallville.
Crown's mine, bitch.
And speaking of Smallville, that bully played the character Icicle in the Smallville TV movie. Oh, and look at the background there. For villains, we're not going to get too many of the side characters. We do get Squat and Babu and Finster in a form of Billy's action figures. I don't really have those same figures anymore, but they're evolved. Truth is, Billy actually wanted to help Jason out so Jason can drive Billy in Billy's family's van to the rock quarry, because Billy has some work to do. Yes, the rock quarry actually plays a part in this as well, which always cracks me up, because in some of the later seasons of Power Rangers, if they really wanted to save money on budget, they would always have the monsters attack the rock quarry. It's like, oh no, the villains have sent monsters down to destroy the rock quarry. Those workers spent all day moving this pile of rocks to this pile. What are they gonna do?
I gotta tell you something, okay? I'm on the spectrum.
See, now this is where I get to talk about why it's great that they have this representation for Billy.
Was that like a workout program? I was kidding.
See, that's the thing. I didn't get the joke. Like, my brain doesn't work the same as yours does, you know?
Is because this is the first time in Power Ranger history that we actually get a Power Ranger that's actually on the spectrum, autistic side. And it's just so fitting that a Ranger representing autism is the Blue Ranger, the same color that autism is represented by. And we wouldn't get any kind of representation like that until Dino Fury, where there's an episode for the Special Olympics.
She's back again.
And here is Ludi Lin, who plays Zach Taylor, the Black Ranger, as he's just hanging out on a train, like some kind of 1930s hobo.
Just like clockwork.
And noticing off in a distance is Becky G, playing Trini Kwan, the Yellow Ranger. Well, I'm not really sure she's Trini Kwan because she's Hispanic in this film, and they kind of pronounce Trini as Trini. They don't really call her Kwan either, so yes, that's our Yellow Ranger. She's being watched by the Black Ranger. So there's not really much I can say about Ludi Lin's interpretation of Zach, because he's not quite like Walter Jones, and that's okay. Becky G's interpretation of the Yellow Ranger may not be quite like Thuy Trang, may she rest in peace. As you can see, she does the whole Zen meditation that the original Yellow Ranger used to do. Of course, it was a little different. And you'll see there are some nods to Thuy Trang. She'll wear a shirt that says 73. This is supposed to be an homage to the actress's birth year, 1973. Well, you might as well get in the water. You're being a silly goose.
Kimberly!
It's strange to hear you say my name. Like we know each other.
We do know each other.
Oh, we know who each other are, but we don't really know each other.
The interesting thing about the scene is producers wanted to test their chemistry. So this is actually the scene they read for, because in this film, Jason and Kimberly are supposed to be the couple. Not Tommy and Kimberly, that kind of goes with what I was saying about Turbo, a Power Rangers movie, where I really do believe the rumors that the original script had Jason and Kimberly being a couple. And why not? Kimberly had already broken up with Tommy, and Tommy had moved on with Catherine. It would make sense for Jason and Kimberly to be together, even though in the current comic book run, Jason is actually in a relationship with Trini. So take this interpretation as you will. And there goes Billy blowing things up because he's a silly autistic guy apparently. And this is going to be the thing that unites our heroes. And I actually like this because I like the idea that they weren't friends before being Power Rangers. Yeah, going back to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, they were all friends and knew each other, and they all hung out together before Zordon selected them to be Power Rangers. I can see Jason and Zach being friends, and I can see Kimberly and Trini being friends, and they might sometimes interact with Jason and Zach because, you know, popular kids, but certainly not Billy. He would be the outsider. Although in the show, Billy did try to be tough like the others, and he did take some lessons from Jason, so I guess that could work. But in reality, they wouldn't really be hanging out together. And that's what I like about this film. They didn't start off as friends. They have different backgrounds, and this is going to be the factor that unites them. Honestly, I would like a reboot of Saved by the Bell where they explain how the popular kids are friends with Screech. Oh yeah, Dustin Diamond passed away, so I can't mention the name Screech anymore. Now, this is another interesting idea too, because unlike the TV show where Zordon just hands the Power Rangers their power coins, here they actually find the power coins themselves, because before Zordon died, he instructed the coins to find the replacements. So that's to say that these teens were actually fated to be Power Rangers. They were destined to be Power Rangers. And now we cut to another chase because these teens are on private property.
Are you crazy? Yeah, I am.
Wild card, bitches! Yeah!
The writers of this movie are Ashley Miller and Zach Stentz. Both of them had their hands in on the Sarah Connor Chronicles, X-Men First Class, the first Thor movie, and, most importantly, Agent Cody Banks. This film was directed to be playful but grounded, and it's clear that this film is directed by Dean Israelite, best known for Battle Los Angeles and Project Almanac. And here we are, within the first 25 minutes of the film, we get 2 car wrecks.
Storm's turn, it's gone bad, we're getting out of here. What the hell is that?
So if you haven't picked up on it yet, the entire 2-hour film here is actually one big long first episode of Power Rangers. Clearly, Saban didn't really think much of Power Rangers when he launched it. That's why he named the first episode Day of the Dumpster. This being the extended first episode. Yes, in the first episode of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Rita Repulsa is released from the dumpster along with her henchmen, and she's released by 2 astronauts. And this is supposed to be, we're not really sure, because it's supposed to be the moon.
That's when I destroy the nearest planet!
Because Rita Repulsa's base is on the moon, but as you can see in some of the shots, it's a possibility it was another planet. Instead of astronauts uncovering Rita Repulsa, we just have fishermen uncovering Rita Repulsa. The backstory of this film wanted to be so grounded, I would say it's not really grounded as much as it's just being lazy. I mean, come on. If you're gonna do a movie about heroes from space, go all out. Don't have Rita Repulsa be scooped up along with a bunch of fish. Because now we're getting a little taste of Spider-Man. Because when you get powers, you get healed of all your problems and you get abs. Okay, I got some power coins right here. Where the hell are my abs? And don't tell me it's buried under here. That's right. The coins actually give the Power Rangers actual powers. In Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, that wasn't the case. They had the coins, but they didn't really have powers until they became Power Rangers. But there are some seasons of Power Rangers where they do have what is called civilian powers. Most notably, Power Rangers Dino Thunder. Uh-oh, we got the bully again. Play the Bulk and Skull theme song.
I'm just gonna quietly snap your wrist, you little bitch.
Ooh, he said bitch! Will that Canadian country musician ever learn?
Smell inside an old fishing boat that holds tons of dead fish. Doesn't smell so good. Freaky, right? Lock up when you're done.
Yeah, keep up the sarcasm, you smart-ass son of a... I haven't seen the movie, but is this guy as big of a piece of shit as he is in Brightburn as well? Also co-stars Elizabeth Banks.
Dude, this is mine. I have a body, a deceased female.
Rita Repulsa is a murderer in this film.
See? Yes!
Billy, right?
And of course Billy is gonna fall because as much as I actually like this movie, a lot of the jokes are kind of predictable. So yeah, you can kind of see the punchline coming a mile away. Now I get it, they have to kind of keep the command center hidden in this version because, well, you can't really have a secret base being located at the obvious building in the middle of a desert, which is actually the American Jewish University in Simi Valley. Are they expected to swim through this every time they go to see Zordon? That has to be pretty annoying, right? Another pet peeve of mine is they really did away with the whole teleportation thing for the longest time. It wasn't until Dino Fury that they brought back teleportation. Now this set is kind of basic, but as an alien ship and a base, it makes sense. But soon enough, we're introduced to Alpha 5. Not exactly the lovable ay shouting robot that we're used to. Now, this is a well-spoken robot who adapted to English very well. Voiced by funny man Bill Hader.
Twink, come on.
Hey, I'm just giving him a good time, huh? Hey, Willie!
No. Look! It's Zordon!
Zordon, they don't know who you are.
What makes me sad is there's no sequel. That means we're not going to get Bill Hader as Alpha 5 ever again. I actually like this design of Alpha 5 because it's close to the TV counterpart, except for they gave him a bit of a beer gut. And for whatever reason, and I really hate this, they actually gave him eyeballs.
You mean to tell me that the fate of the universe is placed in the hands of these children?
Teenagers. Somewhere between infancy and full maturity.
Yeah, so this is a bit of a reversal here because... Sorry, I gotta go back to the first episode. It's Zordon that said they should be looking for teenagers with attitude, and Alpha being upset with it.
Teleport to us 5 overbearing and over-emotional humans.
No, not that, not teenagers.
But here, it's actually Alpha that decided it's a good idea to have teenagers be the heroes, and Zordon being against it.
Teenagers are the Power Rangers.
Power Rangers!
Recruit a team of teenagers with attitude.
Which that always cracked me up about the original Power Rangers too, is that it's like, we need teenagers with attitude. Yeah, well, in this movie, attitude actually literally means attitude. Not positive attitude, just attitude. attitude. Bunch of cynical pricks. And this is an angry Zordon, not the nice wizard, lovable dad figure Zordon. No, this is the why the hell are you guys the Power Rangers type of Zordon. The morphing grid is actually a thing that keeps being brought up in the Power Rangers lore, but it's always been like an abstract discussion. I guess the best way to explain it is the morphing grid is a power source. It's what many different Power Rangers have tapped into to become Power Rangers. Some series you have mentors tapping into the grid to get their Power Rangers. Other series it'll be government agencies that actually reach in for the grid. I guess you can say is like the Force. It's everything that surrounds us. Now if you go by the Mighty Morphin discussion of what the morphin grid is, well according to Zordon, the morphin grid is the balance between good and evil. Zordon represents the good, and Lord Zed actually represents the evil. Balance the morphing grid. You have to have the proper yin and yang of it. And it is weird in season 2 that Zordon describes the evil side of the morphing grid to be represented by Lord Zed, because as we learn for future seasons, Lord Zed does answer to a higher being. But the reason why I'm discussing Lord Zed here is because Zordon is explaining what Rita Repulsa is going after.
The coins have chosen you five. Now you must protect the Zeo Crystal and life on Earth.
Here we go. Now this is where I have to kind of explain in the TV show lore. In Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 3, Rita Repulsa's father, Master Vile, comes into play and he's going after the Zeo Crystal. And it's explained that the Zeo Crystal is a very powerful thing. Only the pure of heart can actually touch the Zeo Crystal. If you're not pure of heart, it could damage you. They actually did explain why Lord Zed looks like the way he did, because he was a regular looking being, but he tried to get the Zeo Crystal and it deformed him. That's why it was a big deal when Tommy and Kat actually had to go and get the Zeo Crystal, because they were introduced as being under a spell of Rita Repulsa. But turned out that Tommy was pure of heart and was able to get the Zeo Crystal. It's a lengthy, contrived story, I admit, but the Zeo Crystal is the reason why Power Rangers Zeo exists.
To a wall. I mean, guys.
Silence!
Alright, Zordon silenced the Rangers and sent them back home. Oh, never mind. We have to get a dream sequence of Rita Repulsa if she did succeed at resurrecting Goldar and capturing the Zeo Crystal.
Whoa, what are you doing?
But much like the first episode of Power Rangers where the 4 Rangers leave, Jason stays behind as he's the only one that contemplates being a Power Ranger.
Guys, we shouldn't have left. I mean, he chose us to save the world.
And it's translated here in the movie. Now we get to have a look at the Rangers in their personal lives. For example, we get Zach having to take care of his ailing mother. And we have Trini having to deal with her family that doesn't quite pay attention to who she really is on the inside.
Me and 4 kids from Angel Grove found a spaceship buried underground.
Pee in that cup.
See, it's that kind of weird, quirky Power Ranger humor that we get from the TV show, and they try to slip it into the script as well. I'm just happy that in this movie, the Rangers have parents, because that's the thing that bugged me about the TV show and the first Power Rangers movie and Turbo Power Rangers movie. They would go off to other planets or go on these various adventures, but you never really hear from the parents too often, to the point where you're wondering, do parents even exist in the world of Power Rangers? But I suppose when the Power Rangers are played by people in their 20s to almost 30s, I suppose parents aren't as concerned. Yeah, she's not the spoiled brat screeching Rita Repulsa from the TV show. She's actually a murderous psychopath. And she's collecting gold so she can assemble Goldar.
What's up, crazy girl?
Hey.
Should we do this?
they do fail at being Power Rangers because they just don't have that connection yet. And now Zordon is forcing them to train with hologram putty patrollers, who in this film are depicted as rock creatures. But as they train, we get a montage of the Rangers connecting in some way. Like in a donut shop, they're fighting over a donut. Now this scene, we were actually supposed to get a cameo of Amy Jo Johnson and Jason David Frank, the Pink Ranger and the Green Ranger, respectively. But that's cut out from the film. But they'll come back later. But here it's cut out. But if they did keep the scene, we would have seen Jason David Frank with long hair again. Oh, Kimberly Hart, we should start a band. Get it? Because Naomi Scott played a character in the Disney film Lemonade Mouth. You inside joke people. The most inside.
The Zords! Pretty cool, right?
And here the Rangers are introduced to their Dino Zords. Jason gets the Tyrannosaurus, Kimberly gets the Pterodactyl, Zach gets the Mastodon, Billy gets the Triceratops, and Trini gets the Saber-toothed Tiger, even though they didn't really exist in the same time period. I don't know much about dinosaurs and stuff. I think they're cool. I'm not a paleontologist, alright? If you want to learn anything about dinosaurs, ask a paleontologist. Ask Ross from Friends, or even easier, just ask Dr. Tommy Oliver. Yes, the Green/White Ranger eventually becomes a paleontologist. Why not? He's done everything else.
Let's go.
But someone explained to me why the Mastodon Zord has more than 4 legs, but it's enough to piss off Jason.
Oh, come on, guys. Why? Stop fighting, please! I got something on my face.
Thus rewarding him to be the first one to be able to morph. Jason uncovers something bigger.
Get out. Training is over for today. Go home.
Wait for us dumb kids to morph so that you can come back to life?
Zordon needs them to become Power Rangers so they can activate the morphin grid and bring Zordon back to life. So he's actually using the Rangers for his own personal gain.
Jason, you need me out of this wall to help lead this team.
Your team's dead. And you're just as scared as we are.
These are all 24-karat gold bands.
Okay, I always thought this was funny too, that this young couple seems to be a bit much for the scene. For extras, they're kind of bigger than they need to be, but I'm not making fun of them. I'm actually making fun of it because the thing about Power Rangers is that the actors can be a bit of overactors. Much of it is usually because of script translation that they try to emulate from Japan, because Japan, they're really expressive. So when you try to translate that to American script, it makes the American actors overact. And I think that's what this particular couple was trying to make fun of. I think that was an homage or a nod. But enough of that. We're gonna watch Rita eat some gold and start some shit. A credit to this movie that you don't get from the TV show. You always have monsters attacking the cities, but you don't really see cops or National Guard or anything helping the Rangers out. Not too often. Sometimes we do, but most of the time it's always the Rangers doing the work, and no military, no National Guards or anything. It's just Power Rangers. And explosions, lots of explosions. We didn't see anyone escape, so she killed the employee and the customers and the cop, all in that building. That psychotic woman. The monsters we see in Power Rangers are always attacking the abandoned building district.
Too bad it's Sunday. Those buildings would have been filled up tomorrow.
It's just me and my mom. And my mom? My mom is the best! And my mom, she's sick.
I actually love this campfire scene because, well, It's as touching as the first Ninja Turtles campfire scene. Here we get an idea of where each of them are coming from. Billy mourns over his father, but he feels complete now that he has friends. Zach talks about how he's taking care of his sick mother, who could be passing away at any moment. I understand the pain there. And then, of course, we get this scene with Trini.
Boyfriend troubles.
Yeah, boyfriend troubles.
Girlfriend troubles?
My family is so normal, too normal. I don't know how to tell them what's really going on with me.
Saban actually created a character from the LGBT community. It's hinted that she could be a lesbian, but she doesn't come out and say it. She would actually fall under the Q of the LGBTQ questioning. Doesn't mean she's a lesbian, doesn't mean she's bi. She's still trying to figure herself out. Unlike in Dino Fury, we actually have a female Green Ranger who is a lesbian. Yes, while you have things that were very bad during the David Yost era with people making fun of them, I'm just happy that Power Rangers have come a long way to actually start incorporating and expanding their world of diversity.
Hold that thought. Skirts aren't really my thing.
Should I kill you? I killed the Yellow Ranger.
And she's harassing Trini. There's a deleted scene where it's extended on the harassment to the point where she actually licks Trini.
We can be friends.
She's still a teenage girl. And we learn a bit more about Kimberly's backstory and why the cheerleaders hate her. And it actually does not paint Kimberly in a pretty light.
Whoa. You took that picture?
No, Amanda Clark took that picture of herself.
And you sent that pic to Ty?
With a text that said, "Is this the girl you want to bring home to your mom?"
That does not really look good, but if you really want a grounded situation where our hero is not perfect, that's gonna be your example.
You did an awful thing. It doesn't make you an awful person.
What?
Just be the person you want to be.
But that's okay because her and Jason kiss. Not really. In the trailer, they kiss, but that gets cut out in this movie. And probably for good reason though, because if you look at a deleted scene of this, not only they kiss, but they were about to go further when they get a text from Trini. And this leads to the next scene where Trini tells the other Rangers what happened to her with Rita. And their solution, since they can't morph into Power Rangers, kill Rita with violence. They're just gathering chains and whatever blunt objects to go and straight up kill Rita Repulsa. Everyone is murderous in this movie. But it doesn't work out for them because she has them all trapped. And as she's about to murder Zach, Billy reveals where the Zeo crystal is buried because he did his homework early in the film.
What's it called?
It's a Krispy Kreme.
Krispy Kreme! Fabulous Krispy Kreme!
This is a special place.
Very special.
It must be. The source of life itself is buried there.
People like to bitch about product placement, and people did a lot of bitching about product placement when it came to Man of Steel, even though I don't mind that kind of product placement because those are stores like 7-Eleven. They exist. They're gonna be around. But when you use Krispy Kreme as pretty much the source of the ultimate power, you're just going down on the people of Krispy Kreme now. Like, you could have just said, like, hey, let's get a donut at Krispy Kreme. Okay, cool. But no. This is just really, really painful product placement. But because Rita Repulsa is such a bitch in this movie, she still kills Billy. But we do get a very nice rendition of Stand By Me.
As you stand by me.
Please help us, okay? Please.
There's nothing that I could do for him.
And this is the scene that I actually feel like this Zordon really redeems himself.
Zordon! Zordon, look at the grid! This is your time! Zordon, why didn't you step through? That was your only chance!
Bryan Cranston is a great Zordon for this, by the way.
This is your team.
Thank you.
Other than the campfire scene, this is probably the best moment in the movie. Sorry, David Fielding, but Bryan Cranston's Zordon is great.
It's morphin' time.
Okay, they don't use the morpher, like that's not even a thing in this movie, but you have to admit this morphing transition is pretty badass. And just in time because Rita is summoning Goldar.
Make my monster grow!
Yes, she does the make my monster grow thing, yeah.
Magic wand! Make my Goldar grow!
Except for why? I like Goldar. Goldar's one of my favorite monsters, one of my favorite villains. Very memorable. Yeah, so why not make him look like constant melting cheese?
I've missed you, my friend.
And she calls him friend. Rita and Goldar actually hate each other. Goldar was very supportive of her in the first season, but when Lord Zed came along, he pretty much threw her under the bus. So it's just weird for them to have this kind of dynamic in this film. Get those putty patrollers! Zap, 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 zap! Oh right, they don't have lasers in this movie. But these are blade blasters. That means they can be transformed into blades. Watch! Alright, I'm gonna get you monsters. I'm gonna assemble this now. Hold on, I'm gonna get you real good. There you go. Ah! Oh, but only Jason gets to have a sword. Damn. Between Goldar and the Power Rangers, everyone is showing off their cans. Extra thick with their cans. And this is gonna be kind of the remaining part, and I hate it so much. Hollywood has this annoying thing about always needing to show masked characters, their faces at all times. They did this with the first live-action G.I. Joe movie. They actually showed none of the masked characters putting on their masks until the end. Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows movie, Shredder doesn't wear a mask until the end. Iron Man, you still get to see Robert Downey Jr.'s face. And now we get to see their face here. Yeah, I guess there are some seasons of Power Rangers where they do that as well, where they show their faces through the helmet. But you know what? They also tried doing that with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, as well in 1995. Yeah, the original design, they thought it would be a good idea to remove the visors and remove the mouthpieces so you can see the actors at all times. But as you can see, it looked really horrible. So I don't know why they want to push it again here. I don't need to see their face to be assured they are there. At this point, if you wanted to replace them with stand-ins wearing masks, that's fine. You know, just some stunt people wearing helmets. I'm okay with that.
Go, go, Power Rangers!
Yes! We get the actual 1995 Power Rangers theme song! It's brief, but it just fills just enough for satisfaction. And it is cool that she has a whole army of putty patrollers. That's what the original villains needed to do in the TV show. Not just send like 6 at a time, just send armies of their henchmen. Conquer the world much sooner that way. I get it. Take that, Transformers. And now we get to see the female bullies and the ginger bully.
That's what you get.
There's her comeuppance. That's what you get for being mad at Kimberly for releasing your nudes. Wait, what? Oh, of course, she has to have some fabulous Krispy Kreme.
Jason, it's your dad. I'm looking for you. I'm downtown. I'm at Mariner Bay and Reefside.
Oh, okay, so if you're not really a Power Ranger nowhere like I am, because I am the know-all be-all of Power Rangers. He mentioned Mariner Bay and Reefside. In this movie, those are streets, but in Power Rangers, Mariner Bay is actually the city that Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue takes place in, and Reefside is the city that Power Rangers Dino Thunder takes place in.
Give me your hand.
But we get that redeeming moment of Jason being able to save his own dad.
It's incredible.
Oh my god.
There's the Zeo Crystal, you're in trouble now.
Push them into the pit!
Guys, we're sliding! Come on, everybody hold the line!
But all's not over yet, because the Rangers are starting to form into the Megazord. Usually there's a cool Transformers-like transformation of the Megazord, where all the Zords come together to form the Megazord, but thanks to the smoke and the fire, we're just gonna have to use our imaginations, because we can't really see them forming into anything. I mean, you would just think a movie that's focused on them trying to focus as a team, you imagine they want to be in the same cockpit, but whatever. In the same way, in the 95 film, Ivan Ooze merging himself into one of the ectomorphicons, in this film, Rita is submerging herself into Goldar. Oh, those aren't wings, those are stabby knives. Now this is where the movie is a little different, because in the first episode of Power Rangers, Goldar was the monster. Goldar escapes so he can work for Rita again. In this film, Goldar straight up dies. It's a disappointment, but he's still a major villain, so someone had to die.
I came for the crystal. Others will come.
Oh, others may come? I wonder who you could be talking about.
Hey, now!
Yes! Oh, I love the insane batshit crazy moments that Power Rangers gives us sometimes. And with that smile, are we to assume that she's gonna go to the moon and assemble a new base? Well, considering that this film didn't get a sequel, I'm just gonna pretend that she died in space. Aw, snap! It's Jason David Frank and Amy Jo Johnson, and they're wearing their colors pink and green. It would have been cool if we had the other Rangers, but that's alright. We get the power couple, I guess. And it is a nice treat. I mean, seeing Jason David Frank in Power Rangers is nothing new. It's kind of like, alright, you know, just ask him and he'll show up for Power Rangers. But Amy Jo Johnson showing up for Power Rangers, that's a big deal. The reason why she stopped showing up in the TV show is because she became union, and Power Rangers is a non-union show, so she could no longer perform on it. But this being a movie, she was able to show up. And don't take a picture of Jason David Frank. You're the one that went and bitched about this movie after it was released. This isn't for kids. Okay, you know what? Kids today will watch Transformers that's more intense than this, so don't tell me about what's for kids and what's not.
You should keep that. I'll come back for it.
That was terrifying. See you, buddy.
As they serve Saturday Detention together, the movie ends until we get this mid-credit scene.
Tommy Oliver. Tommy Oliver.
Jacket left behind is green. That means we're gonna get a Green Ranger, or would have. But alas, the movie bombed. Their budget was $105 million, and they only made $142. They only made $142 million. After the cost of things and the overhead, that's barely breaking even. According to sources, had the movie had a sequel, it would have introduced us to Lord Zed, and it would have introduced the story arc of the Green Ranger. Of course, it was in talks that the Green Ranger could be female. I enjoyed the film. A lot of Power Ranger fans enjoyed the film because it was grounded, but it was a bit edgier, but I don't think it took away from the original TV show. It was just a different look of it. It wasn't too exploitive like Transformers. You didn't see girls wearing skimpy clothes and being sweaty, and that is how you actually reboot a franchise. It's just a shame that it didn't do so well. And I blame that on the fact that they really didn't put much work into their marketing. And I blame the timing of the release of this film. They released this film like a week before the live action Beauty and the Beast movie. And that was a real shit show. But because it's Disney, it will always take away your audience. There were talks that if the sequels kept going, they wanted to do multiple sequels, by the way. So next one would have been Lord Zed and Tommy, but it could have led up to 7 films, supposedly ending with the Rangers facing against the evil Psycho Rangers. But no. You all just kind of slept on it. You didn't go to the theaters to watch the Power Rangers. Yet, you probably went to see the live-action Beauty and the Beast. Well, I hope you're happy, because you all should take a damn good look at yourselves. You camera. And by the way, this is indeed a hint for the next review. Fortunately, this film did not end any careers. Everyone's career went on strongly. I mean, after all, you had Becky G as Trini, the Yellow Ranger. She was already an established singer anyway, but she did go on to star in the film AXL. RJ Seiler went on to do that horrible Netflix movie, Sarah Burgess is a Loser, but he's also made appearances in shows as well. Ludi Lin, Zack the Black Ranger, he went on to play Liu Kang in the Mortal Kombat remake. And of course you had Dacre Montgomery playing in Stranger Things. And I think the Ranger that really got the most out of her experience from this gig was Naomi Scott, Kimberly the Pink Ranger. I mean, after this, she went on to be Jasmine in Aladdin. And she also ended up being in the new Charlie's Angels film with Elizabeth Banks. I'm not too worried about the young actors. If I love a movie, I'll go on for a long time. And I still do enjoy this movie. It does have its flaws, but I love it nonetheless. I'm Anthonix Maximus. Thank you for watching Anthonix Maximus Reviews. We are one episode away from this season finale of Anthonix Maximus Reviews. But don't worry, there'll be plenty of Anthonix Maximus matinees as I talk about movies that are currently in theaters, and I give some spoilers, but I'll let you know when you can skip ahead. And afterwards, I am going on vacation. Grab yourself a damn Krispy Kreme donut.
I'm a talking robot. You can trust me.